Hi, everybody. I enjoy writing. My name is Lou, and today I'm going to mess up my intro. And we're just going to I just want to write something real quick, do a quick icebreaker, kind of get the mental juices flowing here. So we're going to write a story about a group. Okay, so today's story is going to be about a group. Hmm. Now, let's see. Okay, let's see what type of story that we're going to write about a group today. Drama. Okay, I think I could do a drama about a group. And whew, I almost went bankrupt on that one. I got to be careful. Okay, so story about a group. Now, we're thinking about groups. We could do large groups, we could do small groups. It's difficult to write stories about large groups. Usually, you write stories about small groups, two or three friends. Let's see here. Hmm. What if those friends weren't friends? So we can write about friends, frenemies. You know, that concept of they're your friend, but they're really your bitter rival. And that's kind of my interpretation of frenemy is like a bitter rival. Um, Guys don't do this as much as women do on the whole, from what I can see. It's like, yeah, you got somebody you tolerate at work that you may not like, but you just, if you don't like them, you just don't interact with them. Hmm. Apparently, system like whatever. So, hmm. What if a guy did though? What if a guy had a frenemy at work, like a guy version of Mean Girls? They would be fist fighting. that's that's exactly what would happen there. Oh, I'm like, why is that doing? Because I'm hitting enter. Yeah, they would be fist fighting. Let me see here. So, and it has to be dramatic. So we're gonna have an argument of some kind. Hmm. Romance is done to death on the argument portion of that. I think I got something. Let's see what I come up with here. No word count, no word limit. I'm not even timing this, so we're just going to write a little bit. You didn't see me use the tab. I didn't use the tab. That was completely your imagination. I don't like to start out with places, though. I almost started out with a place. And I forgot to double space. Here we are, double space. No, I don't want to do that. Let me see here. The dust seemed to hold. No, we're not going to use the dust. Not like that. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Because I'm naming a company here, what I like to do just to make sure, like there's thousands of companies, there's possibly millions in America alone. So I want to make sure I'm not accidentally talking about somebody's company when I do this. Because, okay, breeding dogs. See, a company that provides game developmental services. So I really can't use that name. To me, it's always a good idea to do these checks because you have no clue who's got what out there, and you could be in your story accidentally slandering somebody, some mom and pop shop or something when you're writing about something. Like if I want to put a restaurant as the hub of a villain, I got to make sure the restaurant isn't actually named for some mom and pop shop out there that's just trying to make by. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to accidentally associate somebody's mind with bad cooking when I've never ate at the place and yada yada. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. All right. Going through this, not my best work. I'm not keeping this story. Sometimes, and again, this is just to get you going and get the mojo flowing. It is dramatic, but I don't feel like it's got much of a weight. It's just about a guy and a woman giving up essentially, which there's nothing holding it there. Going through it used to be his office, such a promising venture to begin with, but now it was musty with the stale, acrid scent of rat piss. Dust clung to everything inside it. Old building plans that hadn't been touched for 18 months sat in a corner, their blueprints curled up unused. Freddie couldn't bring himself to come back here after everything, not since David. All right, so this one, I just hate bare bones intros where, we get the thing where people try to write out these sweeping shots of the trees danced into the distance and the moonlight filtered through and yada yada. I wrote plenty of things that way. But without having an anchor, we don't know why we should care. And that should always be the forefront of your thought is, why does the reader care about this? If you can't answer that question immediately, the reader is not going to care. So I tried to answer that with the first sentence. It used to be his office. And then we see David, who has done something. Foreshadowing. Didn't expect to see you here, Sandra said. She stood behind him in the doorway of the office building. The glass was almost opaque now with dust. I used that line twice. I realize that now. It seemed a lifetime ago that her and Freddie had stood there on the hilltop dreaming of this building, of shaping just amending words here, of shaping the city skyline in their futures, of redesigning the very way people had viewed them and everything. He clenched his fist hard at the memory, gritting his teeth. Okay, don't talk to me, she snarled, walking forward and handed him an envelope. Freddie recognized the law firm's name on it, ran a hand through his thinning hair. So now we know. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have anything left, he said. David took everything. So now we know that Freddy has been betrayed by David, and we don't know who David is at this point. We know he's somehow related to the building that they wanted to build, and we know that Sandra is now basically suing or putting some sort of lawsuit against Freddy here concerning the building itself. Sandra gave a bark of bitter laughter as she sat against the ancient desk in the corner. I would... Yeah. Her movement against the desk means nothing. The bitter laughter is the more important part of that. So, yeah. Sandra gave a bark of bitter laughter. Yeah, he took everything from me too. Wherever that asshole is, I hope he gets melanoma. Then why? Freddy asked and held up the envelope. To dissolve the company. We have to do it. There's no more waiting, no magic tricks that will solve this. Group construction is dead. We have to start over. She walked over to the window to see out. It was almost, see again, we're going to delete that line because I used it before. Urban explorers had come in and drew their names on it in the dust. Spray painted. Instead of saying things, we'll say the walls as soon as I spell it right. For both of them, it carried the weight and stench of their betrayal and the company's death. Freddy grabbed one of the blueprints. It was a floor plan to the building, listing the various offices and apartment spaces. I know. We were just so close, you know. $18 million. That was more than enough to get things off the ground. It was in the company's bank account for a day. Yeah, Sandra said, running her fingers through her bleached blonde hair. Then that asshole grabbed it and flew to some island in the Caribbean before we could even get the wiring completed. The idea was solid, Freddy said defiantly. Offices, living spaces next door to them. People could commute across the hall instead of across the city or across the state. Not every idea gets to live, Freddy, Sandra said. How much did you get for the building? He dropped the floor plans on the floor and turned to her. She shrugged. Enough to get us out of the remaining debt and liquidate the company. He nodded. Well, that's something. Freddy turned towards the door. He knew the way down as well as she did. What are you going to do now? She asked. Try again. It's all I can do. Hell, she said. It's all we can do. So there you have it. Story for the day. I'm not happy with it. Let's give it a name. Crappy building thing. No, let's try to give it a real name. Considering it's about building. Deconstruction. Deconstruction. Actually, just one word. Deconstruction. There we go. That would be the name of it, but I'm not keeping it. Thanks for hanging out. If you hung out this long, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, the word of the day was group. So, did you like my story? Would you write something different? Let me know. I'd like to hear from you. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. If you want to help me out further, well, there's links in the description of a couple of books and things that I've written. Please check them out. Y'all have a good one, and I hope to see you in the next one.